stems can be difficult to identify. Asbestos is made up of hazardous microscopic fibres which can easily be inhaled. If you think a material contains asbestos, always assume it does. Stop work, warn others, and report it to your supervisor. Your employer should ensure that exposure to hazardous substances is prevented or adequately controlled. Health and safety information for hazardous substances should be detailed in a COSH assessment. Control measures for working with hazardous substances should be monitored regularly. Wet cement and concrete can cause skin burns and dermatitis if they are in direct contact with your skin. Lead is toxic. The most common route of entry into the body is via the mouth, ingestion. Where are you most likely to come across asbestos? In a house built between 1950 and 2005. In any industrial building built after the year 2000. In any building built or refurbished before the year 2000. Asbestos has now been removed from all houses and buildings. Breathing in asbestos dust is most likely to cause which of the following? Lung diseases, throat infections, dizziness and headaches, aching muscles and painful joints.
Exposure to asbestos fibres may result in which illness? Heart disease, skin cancer, dermatitis, lung cancer.
How can asbestos be correctly identified? The distinct colour of the dust. By getting a sample analysed in a laboratory. It is clear from the strong smell of the dust. By putting a piece in water and seeing if it dissolves. Which one of the following statements about asbestos is true? Asbestos fibres are most likely to enter the body through the skin. Asbestos fibres only cause health problems for smokers. Asbestos in buildings must always be removed regardless of condition. Asbestos fibres are most likely to enter the body through inhalation. Cement-based roofing sheets are a common material which can often contain what hazardous substance? Rust, dry rot, termites. Asbestos. What is the main immediate hazard from kneeling directly on wet cement? Skin burns, dermatitis, eczema, skin rash. What does a COSH assessment cover? Working safely in confined spaces. Lifting heavy loads and how to protect yourself. The assessment of noise levels and how to protect your hearing. Hazardous substances and how to protect yourself when using them.
Who should explain the health risks and safe method of work you need to follow, the COSH assessment, before you start work with a hazardous substance? A Health and Safety Executive HSE Inspector. The Site First Aider. your supervisor or employer. The site security people.
What is the first thing you should do if you find an unmarked container that you think might contain chemicals? Smell it to see what the chemical is. Move the container to somewhere safe. Put the container in a bin to get rid of it. Ensure that it remains undisturbed and report it. How is it possible to tell that a product is hazardous? It will always be in a cardboard box. It will always be in a black container. By the shape of the container or packaging. By warning symbols on the container or packaging. What does the word sensitizer mean on the packaging of a substance? It should not be used under any circumstances. It must be mixed with water before it can be used. That it could cause allergic reactions when handled. It is safe to use without personal protective equipment, PPE. Identify which of the following signs is associated with a substance being toxic if swallowed or inhaled. If warnings about how to work with hazardous substances are not followed, what is a likely consequence for workers? Good health. Increased fitness level. Decreased fitness levels. Ill health. What should employers check regularly if you are working with hazardous substances? Your mood. Your family. Your health. Your wages. A worker is using a new substance when they start to feel ill. What should the worker do? Stop work and report it to a supervisor or manager on site immediately. Nothing. It is acceptable to feel ill with certain substances. Continue with the work, but report it to the supervisor later. Enter the details into an incident report and continue to work with the substance. When working through a construction health and safety checklist, which of these hazardous substances should be identified? Lead, solvents, cement, asbestos. Asbestos, cement, paints, noise levels. Noise levels, solvents, dust, paint. Vibration levels, noise levels, asbestos, cement. Which of the following tasks could place a worker at the greatest risk of lead poisoning if control measures were not put in place? Plastering a ceiling in a new build home. Building a wall out of old stone. Cutting timber in a roof construction. Sanding down some old paintwork. Which of the following